everybody, long time no see. It's me, Robotron, and I'm back for a Smash TV, without the TV, because today we won't be reviewing movies but a comic book. Why, you ask? Why not? Because it's cool, because it's culture, because it's important. Let's not dilly-dally and get right on it, shall we? Today we will look at The Infidel featuring Pigman Part 1. Part 2 and Part 3, a controversial comic book series that tackles the problem of Islam and its fundamentalists and terrorists, written by Bosch Fawstin, an American cartoonist and former Muslim who was nominated for both an Eisner and Russ Manning Award for his book Table for One. The Infidel featuring Pigman tells the story of twin brothers who witness the 9/11 attacks from their apartment roof. One brother, Killian, is horrified by what he sees and what is happening, while the other laughs and praises Allah. The two brothers come to blows and go their separate ways. Killian creates a comic book character called Pigman who sets out as a superhero against jihad and Islam. During the three-part story, the reality of Killian's life and his character of Pigman entwine, creating a very intricate feeling of fiction becoming reality. More so when you know that Killian's likeness resembles that of Bosch himself, as he created the twin brothers to resemble the two sides of his persona, past and life. This crossover between reality and fiction, both in the comic as outside of it, creates an extremely interesting narrative on both the art and the artist. The dichotomy of mankind, good versus evil, and more. Bosch inserted even more symbolic hints and quirks in the visuals and the story of the book that gel this story into something quite profound. More so since it tackles the idea of how art influences people. Bosch's Pigman is one of the only books, next to Frank Miller's Holy Terror, that tackles this subject, a subject that causes much controversy and copious death threats from Muslims across the world. Bosch himself was targeted by two jihadis who perished before they could achieve their goal of killing him, and still gets death threats for drawing Muhammad cartoons to this day. And he draws a lot of Muhammad, lots and lots of Muhammads, for freedom of speech and for justice. Cause let's not forget the people of Charlie Hebdo, Samuel Paty, the teacher who was beheaded for showing a Muhammad cartoon in class, and all the other people who fell victim to Islam's inability to coexist with freedom of speech and thought. The Infidel is one of those books that will have people that might read it and those that won't read it at all. To paraphrase comic book artist John Malin, Pigman is the most important comic book of the time. Pigman creates conversation about a subject that is taboo, a subject that must be embraced by penalty of death. The art in the book was a bit rough for me at the beginning, but the style grew on me with each flip of the page. There are a few things I would personally have done different, mainly with some of the lettering, but one can have these little critiques about any book ever. The most important thing to know is that the story is compelling and that it all fits together quite nicely. There's a sequence of panels that I need to investigate a little bit further, since I'm quite sure Bosch did what I think he did on purpose, though I'm not sure, since I felt reality and fiction, the two brothers and their two comic book counterparts, mix and mingle quite profusely. Despite my enormous computing power, even I, Robotron, can get his wires crossed now and again. One caveat, however: I did not like the ending. I won't say why, but I will tell you that it needs a sequel. And lo and behold, the gods of wishful thinking have granted me some crumbs to enrich my life. Next to the 4 bikini babes that most certainly are still on their way to me as I speak. But yes, Part 4 of The Infidel featuring Pigman is in the making, and we may even get a 5 and 6 or more. 9 books and a movie is what I say. Pigman's story is a story that needs to be told, a comic book that has a right to exist and a creator who has balls of steel for doing it. As I learned myself through time, the only way to stop a bully is to stand up against it, and Pigman certainly does that. Oh, by the way, Bosch is running a crowdfund at the moment for a new and improved version of The Infidel, now simply called Pigman. Be sure to check it out on fundmycomic.com or visit his site boschfawstin.com. I want to see the continuation of the story myself, and hell, maybe even the pigskin leather cover in the future. I do love me some pigskin, and bacon, delicious crispy bacon, and a lovely whiskey, or some schnapps as I sit on my porch with my dog reading more comics and watching more movies as four bikini babes are massaging my... Smash that.